Small business owner, check. This is my name. This is the name of my company. This is what my company does. This is why I love what I do. This is an accomplishment I'm proud of. This is where you can find me online. And if you're a small business owner, introduce yourself in the comments and let's support.
Welcome to another rendition of A Seat at the Dinner Table. I am Taman. Yeah.
Oh, hey, I'm Kim. You're funny. Rendition?
And tonight for dinner, we are having
We having breakfast for dinner. You guys gotta bear with me tonight. I have a bad headache, so bear with me tonight. But we are having cinnamon sugar pancakes with turkey bacon and scrambled eggs.
As you can see this lovely ensemble.
You're funny.
I'm using these big words tonight.
You are, I see.
So, on the topic that we have on the slate tonight, first and foremost, we do want to give a shout out to Miss Simply Shondell and simplyshondell.com, who had a wonderful performance as far as her business when it came to the event that she was a vendor at. Do you want to just go in just a little bit before we?
Sure. So to answer Nick's question, yes, ma'am, fried hard. That's the only way I do scrambled eggs. I did a pop-up shop this weekend. It was called The Vibe Draws Your Tribe, and it was hosted by a small business owner. Her business is Virtuously Beat It. Her name is Ashley, and she's a really dope person to meet and interact with. There were a lot of different small businesses there. I actually got put on by a friend of mine, Angela, who also owns a small business. I'm gonna stop saying small business because I'm speaking. We're gonna prophesy that these are gonna be big, profitable businesses. So another business owner, Burnt Brilliance, dope soy candles. If you guys get a chance, check that out. But we did a pop-up shop this weekend. It was so much love, so much positive vibes that came out, showed support, shared, and just supported all of the businesses that were out there. Really dope thing about it was, I can't remember how many vendors it was. It was at least 10 different vendors out there of all different types of businesses, and all of them were Black owned. So that was really dope for all of us to come together and it be a positive event. We will be having another one. I think it's October 16th, same location. So just check out my page because I will be posting a flyer for that soon. But it was definitely a dope experience, and I thank Angie for putting me on to that.
Definitely. So tonight, hello, Ms. Baker. How are you doing today? Hope all is well.
Boy.
So we are discussing parenting. Subject line was parents don't understand. Parents just don't understand. Off of the Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff. So we did ask or pose a question as far as parenting. Any questions that anybody wanted to talk about this evening? And I thought that why not go chronologically as far as the ages and the questions, maybe.
Okay. You mean like ages of the kids?
Yeah. Okay. So I didn't go into the womb effect. We're not going to get technical with that. But once they're here and we have infants and toddlers, the toddler training, one of the questions that was had was methods of potty training, learning tips, etc. So
I got a tip. Reach out to Mercedes Shorts for potty training. She's the guru of potty training.
Definitely.
Because I gave up with Nehemiah. I quit. That was the roughest thing. I quit. I'm sorry.
Why do you think that you felt like you quit?
I was spoiled because with Siani, when she was 1, I put the potty down for her and showed her what to do. Actually, it was before she turned 1, I think. Mm-hmm. No, mommy got her the potty on her first birthday. I sat the potty out and showed her what to do, and I put her on it every morning, and she started going. So she was potty trained very easily and very early. Mm-hmm. And it was effortless.
Right.
And Nehemiah just was a whole nother breed of kid. It was so tough with Nehemiah because he does what he wants when he wants. If he doesn't feel like doing something, he's not going to do it. He's stubborn like his mother. But he didn't want to do it, and I was trying to force him into it. He just didn't want to do it. He did it when he felt like it. And so I had to learn with him very early, just let it ride. But there was a couple of times like I would start trying. I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend this time. I'm going to take this weekend, and I'm going to really work at it. And I would keep him on schedule, keep him on track. And he would go in the potty, go in his pamper, go in the potty, go in his pull-up, or sneak off and poop somewhere and not say anything.
One of the things that I think helped was the potty watch.
The potty watch, yes. The potty watch. So for anybody that doesn't know, the potty watch, you can set timers on it. I forget the increments of the time, but you can set the watch. We're just going to say every 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. We're just going to say that. Whenever the alarm goes off, it starts to, I think it like vibrates, but it plays music and it lights up. And he would get so excited when that watch would light up, and he would sing and dance, but he wouldn't go to the potty. So, but it helped because it also alerted me like, okay, it's been a certain amount of time. Let's get him on the potty. But then he would sit there. The thing that frustrated me the most, he would sit there for like 40 minutes and do absolutely nothing. And as soon as you put a pull-up on him, he would go. I was just like, bro.
Yeah.
But still, the potty watch kept him on sync. And then a couple of times I put him in underwear and was forcing him like, we're going to get this together. You're almost 3 years old now. We're going to get this together. I think he only had a couple of he had like maybe 1 or 2 accidents. And then after that last accident that he had, it was smooth sailing. He didn't have an accident since.
Still to this day, knock on wood.
But he did not have an accident. If he did, it was because he was at someone else's house who wasn't telling him to go to the potty.
I thought of another big word. So a brief synopsis of our breakdown. So we have 3 kids all together. 2 with my wife and my oldest, and 2 girls and a boy. So have both dynamics. The boy is the youngest, and I've come to my conclusion that girls are easier to potty train than boys. I mean, it was just a matter of showing and making it to where it's not this kind of,
wow. What happened? Hold on a minute. You gotta tighten the thing. Let me do it.
I got it.
Okay. You sure about that?
Yes.
It's rumbling.
Yes.
You is shaking the table.
How it look?
More that way. Ah, this way. A little bit more. That's good.
All right.
All right, guys. What happens when you live?
Oh, the perils of being live. So, yeah, I've said that I think it's easier to potty train girls than it is boys.
I can definitely 100% agree to that in our situation for our kids.
Definitely. So, as far as learning tips, as far as helping toddlers to learn, whether it be the ABCs, the colors, and whatnot, I know that for all 3, it was a matter of just having someone there to be there and just the interaction was more so, and they see the joy in your face of you helping them to learn, helps them to learn even faster and makes them want to learn even more. Would you agree?
I would agree. So for those of you that know our kids, they are like freakishly smart, and Nehemiah is borderline genius, if not certified genius. So it's kind of hard to say I can give advice and tips on what we did, but our kids just kept picking up more and more and more things quicker than the average kid would. And I say that because their doctors were even completely and utterly shocked at how advanced they were at different stages of their life. But repetition as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, I don't think, put the repetition in the work, the time and repetition, because I remember I used to sit down with Siani and just grab crayons while I'm watching TV, and her and I would just sort crayons.
Right.
And as I'm doing it, I would just tell her what the color was, and then she started picking it up, and then she started telling me what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then I used those same crayons and started teaching her numbers and the concept of adding and subtracting, because she was doing like simple math at 3.
Yeah.
She was doing simple math at 3 because of the crayons, because she would know blue crayon, black crayon, take away something. Like she would figure it out like that.
They'll say he's a genius. I heard.
He is definitely a genius. And even with him, we found, well, I give all credit to, I ain't gonna give all credit to you because I was doing stuff, but a lot of the credit to you because of the programs you found for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was it? Alpha blocks and number blocks. Those were big ones.
Achille.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I remember Achille.
So I'll say for me as a father, my oldest, I had her when I was 22, going on 23, and I was still a little immature.
Mm-hmm.
So it matured me to a sense to where, like, I had to take care of another child, but not another child, but another person. But at the same time, it was more so of I didn't really know the dynamic of helping to mold. And I caught on later with her, and I greatly thank my mom and her mom and even her other grandmom as far as what they did with her as far as the younger age, because I could feel like when it came to learning and teaching, it was more so them than me. I did have an input. I think that when Siani came, I was more involved with trying to mold them to where once they get into kindergarten, then, you know what I mean? Like they knew what they need to know and a lot more. Because I definitely wanted my kids to be prepared. And with Nehemiah would stay up late nights with me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just a matter of when I was working 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, he would be up with me. And at times to where I would take breaks, me and him would watch videos and I interact with him together. And I think that time of just that bonding and him wanting to grow and wanting to learn so much more, just wanted to just stay up with me. You know what I mean? And just wanted to be around his daddy, just caught on to a lot of different things to where like I'm trying to teach myself certain things and he's learning himself. So, I mean, sky's the limit for all three.
Yeah.
But I would definitely say as far as at the toddler age to make sure that you have that interaction with them and not just sit them in front of a tablet.
Yeah. And interaction, anything can be turned into a game with a kid and turned into a learning lesson. Because I can't tell you how many times we done played a quiet game and I I put counting in there. Because I'm like, counting your brain, do this, just because I need some quiet time.
Right.
Cleaning up time, anything literally can be turned into a game for a toddler and a learning experience, in my opinion.
So, the next is kids, big kids. We're talking about kids in kindergarten, first grade, big kids, all the way up to like 5th, 6th grade, I guess. One of the questions or one of the topics that was posed was balancing literature and technology, nutrition, education, beliefs, and motivation.
Oh, Lord. Big question.
It's not necessarily
topic.
Yeah, but I can say for us, first thing first, when it comes to balancing the literature and technology, we do put time limits on technology when it comes to our kids. And we do have a requirement as far as reading before you get on electronics. There's times to where we have been lax on that. However, that is something that is a standard as far as making sure that there is reading before you even get on the technology.
Right.
You've also implemented educational games or educational videos. I don't know.
You're talking real low on this.
Educational videos
There
as
you
well
go.
before. Thank you. Appreciate it. Educational videos before they would play on like the games they want to play as well is a key that we've implemented as well.
And let me say this. I can say that we started making them more so with Siani. She had to start reading before Kimura moved in with us too. Siani had to start reading 30 minutes out loud to one of us before she was able to get on any type of electronics, because we started noticing that her reading was not getting strong. She was always reading a grade level or two above, but then when she hit third grade, she was still at the same reading level as she was in first and second grade. And I was like, something's not right. As a parent, her teachers were still praising her and, oh, she's great, she's ahead and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, nah, I know my child. I know where she was a year or two ago. So I'm like, no, we got to do something. So we started making her read out loud to one of us for like 30 minutes because all she wanted to do was play on electronics all day. And I was like, no, we're not doing that, because now you're not strengthening yourself. You're not growing in any way. And I'm failing you as a mom right now, allowing this. I see you struggling here, not necessarily struggling, but for her, struggling. And then it would get to the point where you're coming up on words that you should know and you're struggling over them. So we started doing that, and now she's back above reading level and advancing like she should. Like we know that she can, because I don't compare our kids to other people's kids. And I tell people, don't compare your kids to ours, because they're just a different breed. But I know what my kids can do, and I know what they can't do. And if I see anything, I'm making changes. We're making changes because I need to make sure that they know I got their back and I'm going to push them. So that reading before and reading out loud, because she also struggled with reading out loud. She could understand it very well and could get through it in her head, or reading, I guess, kind of sort of quietly to herself. But because she was skipping over words that she would stumble over. But I've noticed her reading out loud has improved tremendously, and her speaking out loud has improved tremendously because of that.
Now, as far as I guess nutrition, vegetables is good.
What? What do you mean?
Nutrition. Vegetables is always good for growing kids. That's what I've been doing.
Another thing that I actually got this from my mom growing up. I make sure my kids eat a fruit, like a fresh fruit, before they can get junk food. Because if not, they'll sit and just eat chips, cookies, candy, whatever, all day long. Won't pick up fruit. So every week I make sure I buy fresh fruit for them, and different kinds of fruit. I try to get different kinds of fruit to make sure to try to get them to at least try everything. Siani has told us like she don't really fool with apples too much, but she will eat them, so I don't waste my money. I don't buy apples too often. But I make sure that they have to eat a piece of fruit before they eat a junk food throughout the day.
Yeah, Maya asked for a kiwi.
Yeah.
That's how deep we are in the fruit.
He asked for kiwi. There's times where he'll come up to me at random and say, "Can I get a banana?" or "Can I get an orange? Can I get some strawberries?"
I guess with education.
Can we talk about education? Oh, we talked about that.
Well, in the big kids and big kids.
Okay.
Make sure you're involved with the teachers. Definitely, in this day and age, it's all about email. And if you gotta show up, by all means, but always be in contact with them, and know what's going on with your child. And even on the outside, like one thing that my kids know is that during the summertime, we prep ahead as far as whatever grade level you go into. And I learned that from Upward Bound, being at Upward Bound and being in that program. That's where, like, in that summer, you'd be preparing for the next year. So I was like, I might as well implement that with my kids. And school. You can't just let the teachers be the only teachers and just let them go free. You gotta school them and mold them the way that you want to do, and just have the teachers be the helping aid. Because I mean, it's the law. If you're not homeschooling, it's truancy, right? So,
I've also heard from teacher friends, if the parents are involved, it makes the teacher, in a sense, want to go even harder for your kid because they know that they're not doing this alone.
right.
They have the support of the parents at home, so it makes life easier for everybody. But since Siani's been in school and now that Nehemiah's in kindergarten, I probably talked to Nehemiah's teacher more than I talked to Siani's teacher. But I'm always reaching out. Hey, how's she doing? Is there any concerns going on? She's told me this. Like, I have no problem with emailing the teacher. And like I said, Neil's kindergarten teacher gave me her cell phone number, so that might have been the wrong move for her. However, I understand what's going on in my kid's schooling in life right now.
Yeah. I know when Kimura my oldest was at that age, I was always reaching out to the teachers and finding out what's going on, especially since, I mean, at times kids have a tendency to not tell the truth. So, so pretty much just having an understanding and having that relationship, even if she was with her mom and I was in a different location, I would definitely find out what her teachers were, like how to get in contact with them. Always had a different, not different, but a rapport with them. So I would say those are the main things that I would say is tips as far as education is concerned. Beliefs and motivation. One thing I try to stand on with my kids is to believe in themselves. That's the one thing I've implemented in all three, and they know that that's a principle. So I mean that would be, I guess, the number one belief and motivation. I mean, of course, we do have our spiritual side as far as our relationship with the Most High and praying and whatnot. But just as an overall basis for anybody, regardless of what you believe in, just teaching your kids to believe in themselves is something that at that age is something that's monumental in my opinion.
I know one thing that I constantly tell them, good grief. I lost my train of thought. Oh, I constantly tell them, like, I want them to do good in school, yes. Getting good grades, getting on honor roll, that's excellent. But I always make sure that, especially with Siani, I make her understand, I try to make her understand, if you are doing your best and you are giving your all and you get a low grade and we see the effort that you're putting in and that you're trying, I can accept that. I don't like the low grade, but I can accept that because you're actually trying. So I want her to understand, and now that Neil's in school as well, I need them to understand just it's not all about the grade, but it's about the effort that you put in and your work ethic, because your work ethic can actually take you a long way as well, and it's outside of the grades. Yeah. That's another thing for life.
However, we do have standards because we know what our kids are capable of.
Exactly.
So that's that. Now, we haven't really reached this area yet. I mean, we have with one, but we're gonna probably base some things off of what we learned when we was teenagers, what our parents implemented possibly.
Okay.
But teens and young adults, this is a question that I was like, ooh, what age do you talk about sex, drugs, and then having the talk with your kids?
Here we go.
Yeah.
So with us having two older girls and the boy.
The boy, really?
The boy's the baby. But with us having the two older girls, Siani's preteen, Kimura's teenager, I kind of took on the sex talk, and your question is gone. I can't see it. I don't know what it was. Please, you know I lose my train of thought. So yeah, the sex talk and drugs talk, I took on that because he's a man, and I didn't need him scaring the crap out of the girls. I need them to understand real. And I actually talked with them, sat down, talked with them to see how far they knew and what they knew. before I explained anything because I didn't need to freak them out at any time. I can tell you the cutest thing was when I asked Siani. I said, "Baby girl, I know that you have fifth graders in your, this was last year. If you have fifth graders in your school, I know some things you might have seen some things. Tell me what you know about sex." And she was like, "Well, I know that like sometimes when you write it on the paper, you can pick like male or female." So I was like, "Cool." So we can ride with that. I did start to explain to her just about boys and girls and how they start getting feeling like their hormones and start changing. She was like, "This is getting very awkward and uncomfortable." It's like, cool. So we can revisit this because I didn't want to make her so uncomfortable to where she don't come to me and ask questions. But I wanted to also open that door to let her know, like, if you have questions, come to me. But with her saying, oh, she knew about the male and female, you got to check which one for sex.
Yes.
Like, cool. Okay. Like I said, they did it as young as 9.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think like when a kid gets exposed to something or start asking questions, I think you got to go off of where they're at, meet them where they're at. If it's not something that they're asking about, you can start like I said, opening that door to it. But there are some kids that are just naturally more inquisitive at different ages. Give it to them age appropriately.
Now, I did have talks.
Oh, she said full combo.
I did have talks privately with them. Of course, it's a running joke that I tell my girls that they don't have any boyfriends until they're 25.
Oh yeah, you did. 25.
At first, I said 30, but I lessened it to 25. But ultimately, not gonna hold you. That was a moment that I had to. These my two oldest are girls.
Mm-hmm.
So
excuse me.
I had to put myself in the position, in the mindset of that when they're exposed to it in school, but each child will be different. Very much so. Very much so. But knowing that it's going to happen, it's like at a certain age you can't stop it. So with my oldest, that conversation, I mean, she said what she said, and I said what I said, and needless to say that
y'all said a lot.
We said a lot, and now she is actually with her mother, and she's been having conversations with her mother about certain things that we've talked about, which leads me to understand that this might be a rebellion. Of course, this is a teenager, so sifting through that, having that talk with her, I really hope that she understands that I was as transparent as I could be as far as thinking back to 12, 13, 14-year-old Tamand and all of his friends and how they thought, and even older, and really giving her the real of letting her know that she needs to be herself, love herself. Don't let anyone validate you. Don't have anyone's opinion validate you. You be you. You be the beautiful version of yourself, and you grow and mature into the person that you need to be. There's so much time in life to start dating or thinking about that.
Right.
So, and with Siani, like she said, I mean that yeah. So I mess with her when she says that she finds football players attractive when we're watching football, or people in her school, whatever the case may be. But I mean, I get it, and that's innocence in this age, in my opinion. So.
I was thinking about what the comment your mom said, like when they're exposed to it. I actually think that now with the way that I feel like sex is in everything, they even like have it try to do a PG in commercials and stuff. And I feel like we're reaching a point to where we actually have to talk to them before they're exposed to it, so that way they know how to combat it when if something ever comes up, because the exposure could be completely wrong and off, and they don't have no idea what to do, and it might be too late.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually, it needs to happen before they're actually exposed to anything. Anybody that joined late, I'm sorry, y'all, but my head is hurting really bad. So you see me keep covering my face. It's just because I have a really bad headache that I've been fighting for 2 days.
I guess I forced you onto the show.
No, you're good.
I'm sorry.
It's just the light is just hurting my eyes and stuff. But you're good. We good.
So next, having the talk with your kids. Unfortunately, this has to do with.
Hold on, your mom just asked a question. I think they do have health class, but honestly, with nowadays, these kids need this way before health class.
Yeah.
There's some kids that are exposed and are having sex at age 9. And health class sometimes don't come until 5th and 6th grade, which is 11, 12 years old, between 10 and 12 years old. So, and I'm hearing kids out here just talk about things that they should not be talking about. And they are in elementary school. So you can't wait until their health class and things, because these kids are seeing their older siblings do things, their parents do things, see things. They're exposed to YouTube, which they can get into any and everything on YouTube if you're not paying attention and watching it. So it's way more exposure now than it was when we were younger.
Definitely. But back to the next, I guess, it was having the talk with your kids. So the talk in quotation marks is the talk when in regards to police brutality. And we have the fortunate opportunity to advise our kids as to how to react when getting approached or getting pulled over by the cops.
Yeah.
Whether you are in the back seat or you are a passenger, if you're older, whatever the case may be, it's a talk that has to happen in America as a Black family. We do have to have the talks of certain racial issues that go on in society, even now to this day, with as young as 8 years old, because there's questions that's had, and you need to answer them truthfully and honestly. And I mean, that's my opinion on that. But
this is a hard one for me because I have a Black husband and a Black son, and it kills me that I think of my 5-year-old having to, especially since he's not with me all the time, he actually now goes out to school. It is so hard trying to figure out what to say to him or when to say it to him. This one is something that I've never been through before, but I know that with my son, he's probably going to be taller than his dad. He's probably going to be taller than you. You're 6'5". So I have to let him know, like, he could be sweet as pie all throughout his preteen, teenage years. People are still going to view him as this big Black man. And people are still going to have their views and opinions about him. So I have to figure out how to even have the conversation with him of what to do. So that one's tough for me. It makes me very emotional to think about it, because why do we have to go through that? It's just a lot.
Yeah. Well, too emotional.
I'm not. It was actually another. Oh, there was I don't even know like where this fit in there. I guess with the sex talk and whatnot. But I also want to just tell parents, anybody who's listening that have younger kids or know someone who has younger kids, please teach your kids, your nieces, nephews, anybody that you're in contact with, please teach them the right names for their private areas. Because I have some friends who have been in school systems and in the court systems. There are so many pedophiles out here. There are so many predators against kids. And unfortunately, they have defense lawyers as well who will utilize any and everything that they can to get their clients off. If your child is referring to their private areas as some type of food name or anything, that could be used against them if anything were to, Lord forbid it, but if anything were to ever happen and they have to go to court, that can be used against them. So please teach and have your kid understand their body parts and private areas. I just wanted to put that out there.
I agree.
Now,
that can go along with the talk. That's another talk.
sure.
But yeah, I don't want to harp too much on the talk.
Yeah.
It has to happen. And I mean,
it has to happen, but I think you need to do it in a way that is suitable for your family.
right. So parental roles, mom style. Yes, parental. Okay. Mom style and dad style. How do you combine the two to effectively parent? Importance of kids having both parents. So I'll go first with my style. My style of parenting is my daughters have called me laid back. They have also called me angry. And I think it's that balance that they know that if I get riled up, it's a reason, and I'm riled up I'm riled up to the highest level of riled up.
He's Incredible Hulk.
So
He gets mad.
that's why I tend not to get mad. I like to chill. But they understand that I have standards, I have principles, and I mean, I'll give some leeway, but if you continue to go, then we're gonna have an issue, and that's with all of them, girl, boy, whatever the case may be. So even a 5-year-old can get it.
So my parenting style is along the lines of, I don't know, I joke and play with them a lot, but when I mean what I say, and if I tell them to do something, I mean it. However, I don't like when they daddy say anything to them at all.
Not at one time.
But I don't speak out about it in front of them because I refuse to allow them to see that we disagree on things. And I don't disagree on a lot of things that he do. I just don't want him to discipline my kids. I don't like when he yell at them. It's my baby. He hurt their feelings. He hurt their feelings, and I don't like it. Especially Neo. When you hurt his little feelings.
He'd be all right.
It's my baby.
He'd be all right.
That's my baby.
So, how do you combine the two to effectively parent?
We talk behind closed doors. We figure things out and talk it out first.
Yeah.
For the most part,
Yeah.
I think, and we come to a mutual agreement. Understand.
Yeah. And there's times to where it's like, I'm sorry if you upset or not. We're going with this.
Honestly, there's been times too that I've tapped out. Like, listen, then you handle it. This your punishment. You handle it. I'm not doing it. I'll just follow up with what you said.
And I was like, okay, cool.
And my kids ain't got nothing.
Like, well, wait a minute now. Wait a minute,
ma'am.
You can't have TV for a whole month now. Come on, do you think that's a little extreme? No.
Yes. Yeah.
Nope. Not at all. Not at all. Importance of kids having both parents. So we can get a little deep into this, but we're not because we deep into the show. But we both.
He said sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring.
But he still can't beat my baby. Don't yell at my baby.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Okay, so yeah. So we've been raised a great portion of our lives by single mothers. So we, excuse me. I mean, she, yeah.
Who is she and what are you talking about?
I'm not even, I was going to say you, but I wasn't going to describe you. I was going to let you describe you.
Well, I don't even know where you're headed.
I don't know either.
Oh,
I'm
right.
about to go there.
Okay.
So, I really think that it's a major thing for there to be, if you can, be together. Worst case scenario, co-parent effectively, and putting pride aside. Because at the end of the day, that kid is a combination of both you and the mother, or if you're and the father, and they need both of those to guide through life, because you may understand them and the other parent doesn't, and vice versa. And there needs to be a balance, and also knowing where you messed up in areas to where if you could change it, you would, and you see it in your child, and also with the other parent as well. So I think that, I mean, ideally, to have both parents in the household is, of course, the goal, I would think. And I think that in itself is, I mean, if it's toxic, no. But at the same time, that the goal is to be a unit, and being a functional unit, and being together with your significant other and having that love and that camaraderie, as well as parenting together, I think it makes for better children growing up.
Let me tell you something. Tiani is me through and through with her attitude. There are times where, so Tamon is still trying to learn and navigate my attitude. And then when Tiani's come out, I have to save her a lot of times from getting in trouble, because she'll say something and I understand how she's saying it, but he don't. He take it as she's either talking back or getting smart. And I'm like, she's not. I promise you she's not, because I understand. And when he gets mad, there's sometimes she had this confused look on her face like, what did I do? What did I say? And I have to save her. But it helps with the both of us, because I understand how I am, how I was growing up. So the things that she does, or even Neo that they do, that I understand, he may not understand. And then there are some things that they do that's him, and I'm just like, what the hell? How?
I'm like, that's me.
Yeah.
I got that.
And so I got to pass it along to him, because I don't understand it.
You not say it like that.
I'm just saying, I don't understand it.
My mother said, no, she is not getting smart.
She's just outspoken like her mama. Lord.
We not here. I'm not going to get into that. It's just.
What?
She has her ways sometimes, and the know-it-all.
She's a jerk.
See? So.
But I can say that because that's how my mom and my aunt laugh all the time. They're like, you're literally watching yourself grow up. And I was like, but I wasn't that bad. And they're like, no, yes, you were. You were. Absolutely 100% you were. So that's why I say she's being a jerk. I understand. You got another one?
Okay, so I gotta do some,
what happened? Uh-oh.
do some,
My bad. What happened?
I gotta do some editing.
Oh, before you put it up on the screen. Oh, this light. Do you guys have any questions or anything you want to know our opinion on? That would be helpful too. You can put it right in the comments.
Probably didn't word this right, but how does the way you parent now influence? Nope, I sure did. Okay, so the question that I had was, the way that your parents parented you, how does that influence or affect the way that you parent now?
Believe it or not, it actually has a lot of influence over the way that I do things. There are some things that I can't think of anything specific at the moment, but there are some ways that my mom was that I definitely implement in my style of parenting. And then there are some things where I'm like, nope, not doing it. And there's no offense to her or anything, but I know how I felt as a kid with certain things. And I was like, I'm not doing it to my kids. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it to my child. But then on the flip side, sometimes I still find myself doing the things that I didn't like. But it definitely has a big influence on how I parent. And my mom was a dope parent to me. Even like me thinking back, certain things that I didn't like, she was still a dope parent to me because she was there, very present. So it makes the times that I got in trouble not as bad, because I got the discipline, but I got the love, like the pure, genuine love from her. So it influences my parenting a lot because I try to make sure that my kids feel just as much love. Like my mom used to go outside and play baseball with us in the front yard, or my mom would watch wrestling with us, or Saturday morning cartoons with us. And that's stuff that I try to do with my kids because I know how that made me feel. Like I loved, Mom would just sit down with a bowl of cereal, Saturday morning cartoons, all three of us just sitting there laughing. Like that was dope. Those were dope memories for me. Being outside, all that, So, but then when it was time to lay the smack down, there's a couple. There's some discipline moments that that go down in history. So I try to be like that.
Me, I was the only child with my mom, so it was a lot of spoiling, in which I feel like I do that with my kids as well. And also, there's a foundation. You don't think so? Right, here we go. Let my kids tell it. Let my kids tell. Okay, yeah.
TV for a month.
Yes, the TV is in our room as we speak right now for Siani. That's a fact. And yes, I think
she's gonna be mad you put her business out there.
It is what it is. Needless to say, a lot of the spiritual foundation that my mother had set. My mother was dope for that. She was my Sunday school teacher, as well as she implemented those things at home. So I definitely implement those things to my kids as well. When it comes to discipline, to let my mother tell it, I'm probably harder on my kids than she was on me. I think we got each other about even. I may be a little bit harder, but I know I got more spankings than all my kids combined. So needless to say, we'll just leave that at that.
Shit, I got y'all all beat. I got to spank it every day.
Well, no, at what age?
Up until 13-ish.
Oh, okay. No.
It wasn't every day after that, but like younger, every day. No, after I hit a certain age, I just got punched.
But all in all, I mean, the way that we've been parented, of course, and we take the good and build on that. And some of the things that we as teenagers or as young adults think like to ourselves, like we wouldn't want that. We wouldn't want our parents to. I wouldn't do that if I was a parent. Now that we are parents, it's kind of like when we get to that point. It's kind of like, so do we go with what we originally thought, or do we be grown-ups here and do so? But it's definitely, she says, no way, not even. We not even gonna go there. We not even, if what's the lie detector test, people? We're not even gonna go there. So,
my mom went to fraternity testing, Maury. I don't even know why.
But needless to say, we've gotten some good examples, and we have taken on that and built it upon that and created our own, and I think that we're doing well so far.
I think so. I have one problem. I laugh in my kids' faces when they do stuff sometimes.
Yeah, that's a fact. That is definitely.
But sometimes when Neo cries, it'd be the funniest thing to me. Even though I know he's upset, it'd be so funny. Or sometimes, even with Siani, the stuff that they say, man, it's just, I can't help it. I try not to. I can't help it.
We can see, and the thing is that I don't mind the laughing, but after the fact, because to us, that's one of the joys of parenting. Is just hearing some of their remarks to some of the questions that we ask, and the sense that it does not make, and not only that, just the temper tantrums for whatever reason, the arguing, the crying, the screaming, just it's funny behind closed doors because we sit back and laugh, you know what I mean, during the day, like, yo, Nehemiah said this, Siani said that, Kamora said that, or whatever, did this, but
I think it's the worst when we yelling at. I can speak for me,
I'll be yelling at them and my wife will laugh.
I'm talking about when I've had my tonsils out, so now I can't scream like I used to. And then sometimes if I'm trying to scream, my throat gets itching real bad. So I'm in the middle of yelling at them, and I got to stop, cough, clear my throat, can't catch my breath. And I'm like, I just lost the whole impact of what I was saying because I'm sitting here choking on my own screen. And then I'm like trying not to laugh, and I know they probably want to laugh in my face.
Oh, but the times that I can mess up on words, she's ready to laugh. I'm like, yo.
I try, because you be in the middle yelling.
I do. I'm like, that's not what I wanted to say. That's not even the right word for that. But I got my point across. So, final word of advice to parents: just don't understand.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Baby, you're fine.
My final, I thought you was going to go.
I can go.
My final word of advice: give yourself grace as a parent. None of us get it right 100% of the time, and there is no book on what to do and how to do it. And even if there is a book, your child will not match up to what they say in that book. So give yourself grace. It is a learning period for each stage of your life and your child's life. So give yourself grace.
Okay, so me being a black man, there's a stigma on black fathers not being in the lives of their kids. So number one, I would say no matter what, stay in the life of your kids, no matter what. Because like we said earlier, as far as the two parents that's needed, whatever's going on with the situation, just be there for your kid. And it's not all about finances. It's mainly about building up their morals, their values, their principles, because you as the fathers are the foundation of what they're going to grow on. And they have the mothers to nurture them, but I could go deep with the whole soil and all that, but I thought about that earlier today. But at the end of the day, just be there for your kids, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally. It doesn't necessarily always have to be financially, because throwing dollars at a situation isn't going to make things better.
I want to say to you, I hope I tell you enough, but if not, I just want to tell you, you are a dope father. You are truly an awesome father. I couldn't have picked a better father for my kids. And I saw that with how you were with Kimura before we even had kids. Especially with that situation, you were still there through everything, through fighting, through literally everything. And I have seen a lot of guys walk away from what you went through. So seeing that, and then seeing how you are with our kids that we have together, you truly are a dope father, and I appreciate you. Just want to tell you that.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I can't say ditto.
No.
No, I couldn't pick a better mother for my kids. I mean, we've discussed this in private, but just before we got together, quote unquote, like the mannerisms and everything that I've seen around your nieces that you had, and how the joy of you just being there, being around them and whatnot, and you just loving kids for one. And not only that, just the nurturing side that you had, and also you can get with them as well. But at the same time, it was just a great balance that I've seen, and the caring that you, like the genuine care, like not just I care because I'm a parent or anything like that, but you genuinely care about people and kids especially. And I mean, that's something that, I mean, as a man would want for his wife and for his mother of his kids. I mean, you have exceeded the role. So
thank you.
Think. I'm glad that we picked each other.
I am too. Well,
so
that's about saying the most I did.
We had something to do with it too, but he pulled some strings together. So we ask you to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. As you see on the ticker, you can shop at www.simplyshondell.com for your beautifully creative handmade polymer clay earrings that are wonderfully made by my wife.
I do want to say, on my website, I have a new fall collection out there, so just go check that out.
Definitely. That's for the ladies and for anybody who's trying to get gifts for females, I'm telling you, it's the best thing to get. So until next time, thank everybody for joining us. Yeah, peace.
Silly.